From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, and welcome to the April 4th edition of Carolina Week. I'm Fred Shropshire.
And I'm Jacqueline McClary. Thank you for joining us for a look at Carolina news and events. We have student reactions to the Tar Heels Final Four loss to Florida, but first, some news that could affect where you watch the next big Tar Heel game. If you're younger than 21, the days of fake IDs might soon be a distant memory. In an attempt to keep young drivers from illegally buying alcohol or tobacco products, the State Division of Motor Vehicles began issuing new color-coded licenses on March 27th. The new licenses now have color borders and text that correspond to a driver's age. Drivers younger than 18 will have red trim, those between 18 and 21 will have yellow trim, and those 21 or older will get green. Drivers won't have to get new licenses until their current ones expire.
If age or big crowds kept you out of Franklin Street bars last weekend, you could have experienced a loss with many fans in the Dean Smith Center. Carolina Week's reporter Kimberly Stewart has reactions from inside the Dean Dome.
It felt like a real basketball game inside the Dean Dome on Saturday night.
Where is the biggest party outside Indianapolis?
It sounded like a real game too. But where was the team? Indianapolis, playing for a chance to be the national champions.
Many thought that Carolina would never be here, but almost 2,000 are packed here in the Dean Smith Center, trying to give some positive energy to those Heels in Indianapolis.
And for a little while, it seemed as though that support was pulling the Heels through.
I think we've been on a roll, and we're gonna show them how it's done in Florida. It's gonna be good.
But in the final minutes of the game, the cheers subsided and the crowd grew very quiet because the team had nothing left to give. Despite the loss, fans congratulated the Tar Heels for getting this far.
I think it's awesome because, people might have been complaining about how we didn't quite make it to the championship game, but I honestly think the fact that we made it to the Final Four was unbelievable.
So life returns to normal for the players and students. March Madness is over this year, but another season is only 7 months away. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kimberly Stewart, Carolina Week.
We'll have more highlights from the game later in sports with Carolina Week's Brian Strong.
Tar Heel basketball may only last 5 months of the year, but fans throughout the nation can now have a 12-month relationship with the university. For those students who are tired of 8 o'clock classes, UNC may have a solution. With advances in technology, anyone with a computer can access Carolina's new online class schedule from the comfort of home. No more in-class lectures or attendance policies for those who opt to take Carolina's online courses. Instead, students can communicate with classmates and instructors through email and discussion forums. Online classes are offered on various subjects, including African American studies, arts, political science, and psychology. Graduation is coming soon, and so is the need for employment. With resumes in hand, hundreds of UNC-Chapel Hill seniors eagerly attended the spring job fair held in the Student Union Wednesday. Along with graduating seniors, other students were on hand trying to get internships. Representatives from more than 50 companies participated, some advertising traditional office jobs, while others offered a casual work and play environment. The spring job fair is sponsored every year by University Career Services, which is a good thing considering some of us need jobs.
UNC-Chapel Hill will have to wait a little longer to hear the name of its new chancellor. The Chancellor Search Committee has scheduled 4 more meetings. The final meeting is set for May 25th, 4 days after UNC System President Molly Broad's original deadline. The committee's job will be finished when they forward the names of the 2 finalists to Broad's trustees. The trustees will then send names to President Broad for final approval. Interim Chancellor William McCoy says the university can expect to have a new chancellor before fall semester begins. And while the search for a new chancellor continues, McCoy found the time to dedicate an old building with a new purpose. Chancellor McCoy and other faculty members cut a Carolina blue ribbon last Friday to kick off a weekend of Carroll Hall dedication events. Visitors who registered for the celebration applauded the new building and reminisced about the two former homes of the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. The 1948 journalism graduate Clarence Whitefield says Carroll Hall, is nothing like his old journalism building.
Bynum Hall was the old gymnasium, you know, over next to the Playmakers Theater, and we just had about, 4 rooms on the second floor. We didn't even have the whole building over there. This is absolutely super, and we're just all so proud of it. We couldn't be prouder.
After the ribbon dropped, Dean Richard Cole invited all participants to tour the new school. Crowd favorites were the state-of-the-art Park Library and the new home for Charles Kuralt's office. Throughout the weekend, alumni and visitors attended speeches and receptions.
If you missed the Carroll Hall dedication, don't worry. There's a whole month to enjoy other types of festivities. Art is on display at the first Chapel Hill Arts Festival. Chapel Hill's Downtown Commission has asked local artists to come together to celebrate their talents. Events include a public reading by 1967 UNC graduate and two-time Pulitzer Prize nominee Russell Banks. Banks is also the recipient of the Morgan Writer in Residence Award. The Chapel Hill Garden Club is giving a garden tour April 8th and 9th in the Gimgool neighborhood. And to find out more about the Chapel Hill April Arts Festival, you can contact the Downtown Commission. And the highlight of the month is Apple Chill, and it's a Chapel Hill tradition that offers arts, crafts, music, and ethnic and regional foods. And that's on Sunday, April 30th, starting at 1 in the afternoon.
Sounds like fun, Jack. Many students raise their voices to protest the cause of their choice.
But these students are speaking out without saying a word. The reason this protest is silent is coming up next.
Medical research saves lives. It produces treatments and cures for killers like heart disease, AIDS, cancer. Don't let these killers get away with murder. Support medical research.
What is United Cerebral Palsy? Therapy and education. Employment opportunities. Independent living. Family camp. United Cerebral Palsy. Building bridges to independence. You see people, we see promise. Call 800-868-3787.
This week is Queer Network for Change Awareness Week. The purpose behind the week is to make people aware of those with different sexual orientations. Wednesday, QNC members sat in silence in the pit. The students were protesting the silence forced upon them by society. Other events during that week include a march in the pit on Thursday and a dance at Gotham nightclub on Friday.
Another group held a protest on campus, but they were anything but silent. These students are shouting out for rape awareness. Women and men of UNC gathered Thursday night to take a stand. The Take Back the Night March is an effort to raise awareness of violence against women. Armed with candles, signs, and voices, students started at the pit and marched their way across campus. In a rally before the march, speakers stressed the need to increase awareness to help prevent sexual assault. Speakers also addressed the importance of helping survivors cope after an attack. The rally was one of the highlights of the 3rd annual Carolina Women's Week. According to the Orange County Rape Crisis Center, 100 women are raped every day in North Carolina. One UNC-Chapel Hill group is trying to make sure these victims aren't forgotten. Carolina Week reporter Lee Skinner talked with members of the group about their efforts.
The more people ignore it, the more people pretend like it's not happening, and encourage people they know who has happened to not report it, to not talk about it. It perpetuates the problem.
One study found that out of every 100 rapes, only 16 are reported, and 3 out of every 4 rape victims knew their assailant before the attack. Rape counselor Emily Obar is trying to change those statistics.
The problem is that people aren't talking about it. They're not talking about how to prevent it or what it's like. It's just sort of a taboo subject altogether.
Obar and the UNC-Chapel Hill Center for Healthy Student Behaviors brought an interactive art exhibit to campus. Breaking Silence uses pictures and CDs to tell the stories of 14 sexual assault survivors, 11 women and 3 men. Student Jesse Moore says the exhibit brings a new understanding to the issue.
Just being able to hear firsthand through the CDs and through the pictures and get a real personalized approach to this issue. So often it's statistics or it's news reports and police reports, and that doesn't give a very personable understanding.
UNC graduate Matt Azell says understanding is the first step.
A man cannot know what it's like to walk around in this world daily with a fear of rape, can never understand that. But we need more men who even attempt to understand.
As more people begin to understand the issue, the silence can be broken. In Chapel Hill, I'm Lee Skinner, Carolina Week.
Breaking Silence is free and open to the public, and the exhibit will be in the Union Art Gallery until April 16th.
In health news, college students are always looking for quick and easy ways to earn money. For UNC students, a short walk to Franklin Street can earn them $40 in 2 hours.
Good money, and it's easy. It only takes about an hour out of the day, and you do it twice a week, and it's very safe.
Lori McClure donates plasma. She makes the trip to Saratech on Franklin Street twice a year. The procedure is similar to giving blood. Red blood cells are collected from the body and separated from plasma. Then red blood cells are returned to the body and a saline solution is injected to make up for fluid loss. Donors are only allowed to give twice a week. Clients are paid $15 for their first donation of the week and $25 for their second. Donors are required to undergo medical screenings before they are allowed to participate. If you're looking for a beautiful smile and can afford to spend hundreds of dollars on every tooth, consider porcelain laminate veneers. Porcelain laminate veneers are a popular way to change a smile. They are thin pieces of porcelain permanently bonded to the teeth. The procedure usually requires 2 office visits. On the first visit, about a ½ millimeter of outer tooth is shaved away to allow for added thickness of the veneer. The laminates are bonded to the teeth with a light gun on the second visit. The veneers last about 10 years, maybe longer with care. But the fees range from $600 to $1,000 a tooth, and insurance rarely covers this type of procedure.
The signs of spring are back again, and students aren't wasting any time enjoying the sunshine.
But how long will the good weather stick around? Carolina Week's Lee Ringer has our forecast next.
The steps of Wilson Library receive no sunshine on early winter mornings, so it's chilly there if you don't have that double-shot caramel espresso. Surrounded by forever green magnolias, the steps are a fine place to study, or at least pretend to, while you watch a border collie chase a frisbee in the quad. No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We have ignition. We have liftoff. Join the next mission aboard the Moorhead Planetarium. For more information on Sky Rambles, call 549-6863.
We have not had good weather the last couple days, Lee, at all. So
yeah, we had some cooler temperatures and a little rain this week, but we expect a warm-up as we head into the weekend. Maybe a chance of rain, though. We'll have a look at that forecast coming up in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at our question of the week. Our question: what is the warmest temperature that we have seen for the month of April here in Chapel Hill? Is it 85, 95, 92, or 88? We'll give you a chance to think about that, and we'll have the answer coming up. Well, certainly not as warm as those temperatures this week, but by midweek we had temperatures warming until the low 70s. Lots of folks getting out enjoying the nice weather, although the week did start off with some cloudy skies, little showers. Midweek was certainly nice. Lots of folks around campus enjoying maybe a lunch or doing some studying on the outside this first week of April. And since we are in the first week of April, let's take a look at what is the typical weather we expect for the month of April here in Chapel Hill. Well, the average high temperature, 72 degrees. The average low is 46. And we usually see just a little above 2.5 inches of rain fall during the month of April. So we haven't been too much off of the average temperatures yet. And another thing we expect for the month of April also is pollen, and pollen certainly causing a problem for some folks. And this weekend, pollen levels should be high. We'll have sweet gum, oak, and pine being the main contributors to that high pollen count this weekend. The weekend should start off pretty nice, though, as we take a look at your Carolina week forecast for Friday. A nice warm day, in fact, a beautiful day for Friday. 81 degrees for your afternoon high. The day will start with a low temperature of 50 degrees. Now, as we head into Saturday, the first part of the day should be okay. Some clouds building in by afternoon, and can't rule out that chance of an afternoon thunderstorm for Saturday. 75 degrees for your afternoon high temperature, a low of 53. We'll cool down a little bit for Sunday when we'll see high temperatures only 66 degrees. Maybe a few more clouds in the sky. We'll have a morning low, though. Pretty chilly start to Sunday with 38 degrees. For Monday, looks like we'll return to a little nicer weather, mostly sunny skies. Temperatures for highs on Monday afternoon, 72 degrees with a low temperature of 40 degrees. So weekend doesn't look too bad. Maybe a thunderstorm Saturday. Well, all in all, not a bad picture. Are you headed to the beach this weekend? Well, the Carolina beaches should be pretty nice with warm temperatures. Maybe a thunderstorm there. That's on Saturday afternoon. Otherwise, it should be pretty nice. Cooling down on Sunday. Temperatures around 80 degrees. So what's that answer to the question for today? Fred and Jacqueline?
95 degrees.
Jacqueline got it.
Oh, there you go,
95 degrees, kind of warm for the month of April. That happened back in 1980. Warmest temperature on record in Chapel Hill for April.
Great, okay. Thanks, Lee.
Thanks for watching. The Tar Heels made some noise in the first half of their Final Four game against the Gators this weekend.
But foul trouble slowed down the semifinal game for North Carolina. Stay tuned for this story from Sports.
The Ronald McDonald House is a nonprofit organization that provides a home away from home for families of children being treated at UNC hospitals. Since opening in 1988, the house has welcomed more than 1,000 families each year to stay at this safe haven. The house relies heavily on community support. How can you help? Become a volunteer. Help the house that love built. The Ronald McDonald House, the house with a heart.
Don't get mad at me. Don't. I didn't mean to do it, okay? Please.
I'm
just don't get mad this time.
Questions. Why are you jumping to conclusions?
Please.
Well, I haven't done anything. I'm just asking you a few questions.
Stop hitting her!
You pitiful.
Stop it! No!
Change is possible. Call the Family Counseling Service at 403-3534. We can help.
Guys, I know I was so upset about the loss, but I can't really imagine how the players feel, especially the seniors.
Yeah, you got to feel a little bad for Ed Cota. He had a great career. Unfortunately, Florida had a little too much this weekend for the Tar Heels, for sure. Yeah. Definitely. Well, the madness has come to a close. The Carolina basketball team's magical run to the Final Four came to a finish in Indianapolis, as Florida dropped the Tar Heels 71-59 in the national semifinals. After being down 18-3 early in the first half, the Tar Heels battled back to pull within 3 at halftime. Brendan Haywood scored 16 of his 20 points in the first half to keep Carolina in the game. The Gators shut down Joseph Forte in the first 20 minutes, but the freshman came to life in the second half as the Gators as the Tar Heels built a 6-point lead with 15:45 to play in the game. The turning point came a couple minutes later when senior Ed Cota picked up his 4th foul. Carolina head coach Bill Guthrie decided to leave Cota on the floor, and the Gators took advantage. 12 of the 16 next points were scored directly on the penalty cuff point guard as the Gators pressured their way to a 12-point victory. Carolina ends the season with a 22-14 record. On a happier note, Tar Heel baseball is back up to number 5 in the polls. Carolina won 2 out of 3 games this weekend from a Clemson team that was ranked 1st in one poll last week. The Tar Heel pitchers were excellent, especially the relievers. Mr. All-Purpose Ryan Erie pitched all 3 games in middle relief and gave up only 1 run. You can see here as DePriest gives the assist to second baseman Clay Hooper and the gun to the plate to kill the Tiger runner. Closer Derek DePriest also got 2 saves. Carolina will play a 3-game set against 23 Wake Forest. The Carolina men's lacrosse game was on TV last weekend, but the Tar Heels came up short on the big stage against Johns Hopkins. The Heels were down by only a goal at halftime, but Hopkins came out firing in the second half. The Blue Jays' Dan Dinahan had 2 goals and 3 assists on the game and helped get his team an 8-2 lead. The Tar Heels would mount a comeback behind 4 goals from Jeff Sonke and a goal here from Matt Cameron. You see him rip from the right side. But All-American goalkeeper Brian Carcaterra refused to let Hopkins lose, and he denied the Carolina comeback bid. The Tar Heels fell 10-8 for their 3rd loss in a row. They have a big game against Virginia at Fetzer Field this Saturday. And while the lacrosse team is in season, the women's soccer team is in its off season. The Tar Heels lost their exhibition match against the Raleigh Wings last Friday night by a score of 2-1. Raleigh's roster includes a host of former Tar Heel players such as national team players Cindy Parlow and Lori Fair. The Wings are one of the 5 teams that the Tar Heels will play during the off-season. The Heels are now practicing for this weekend's opponent, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Despite a busy schedule, in the off-season, Coach Anson Dorrance says the team is not that stressed.
So we use that as a motivation as well. And the off-season is a lot of fun. I mean, we're just playing soccer the whole time. And we want it to have a different feel in the fall, because we don't want the players to be burned out on the game minute.
The Tar Heels will also face Duke, Florida, and Old Dominion later in the offseason. So that's all for sports, and expect a very, very busy weekend coming up in sports this weekend. There's tons of events for everyone to attend, so go out and cheer on the Tar Heels.
So with the basketball season over, we get to enjoy maybe perhaps a maybe probable cause or to run for the national championship in baseball, right?
True. The national championship tournament will be in Omaha this year, and the Tar Heels are on a great roll right now, number 5 in the country, like we said earlier. So go out and cheer them on and look for them to do good things for the rest of the year.
Thanks for sports, Brian.
Thank you.
Do you ever get that feeling that you're being watched? Well, it's not as far-fetched as you might think.
When we return, find out what new technology lets you spy on people driving down Franklin Street.
I wonder how Silent Sam feels about guarding the university from groups of 3rd grade kids. Maybe he's lost interest. We haven't heard his rifle fire recently. Still he stands, a steadfast defender of something. What is it? No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
Hey Mark, where are you going with your piggy bank? I'm going to give my allowance to the Interfaith Council. Why? Mom says they help people, and they need our help too.
The Interfaith Council helps adults and children through job training, family support, and education. They can't survive without community support. Every donation counts.
I want to help too.
Call the Interfaith Council at 929-6380.
Hey, there are a lot of ways we can help our community. Spending our money in Orange County, whether it's filling up the car or shopping at local businesses, helps maintain our roads. improves our children's schools, and creates jobs.
Spending your money locally helps us all in a big way. So remember, shop orange first.
Mother taught me. She's
averaging 18%. Balance the budget. Increasing clouds for...
UNC-TV. Your remote stops here.
If you're on Franklin Street, chances are someone's watching you from afar. Reporter Corey Ford says that watcher could be anywhere in the world.
Near the intersection of Franklin and Columbia, you're caught. Whether you're on the phone, at a red light, or just having a bite to eat, if you're anywhere near top of the hill, this camera's watching you. And anyone who's surfing the internet can look through that camera. Go to WRAL.com, click on RoboCam, and you can see whatever the camera can see.
It's live.
Student Kalechi Dozier enjoys the sight, but wouldn't want to be the one caught by the click of a mouse.
It's like you're spying on someone without knowing, which I mean, is a bit of a thrill, though. But still, I wouldn't want to be the one at the end on the other side.
Using RoboCam, you can see Franklin Street live. You can also pick a spot and zoom in up to 40 times closer. Sounds fun if you're surfing the internet, but what if you're the person who normally studies right here?
The intrusion of privacy.
Danielle Dong studies in Starbucks, but the camera makes her feel uncomfortable.
It feels like a big brother from 1984 kind of watching over you.
Most people have no idea there's a camera.
How do you feel
Really?
about that?
The presence of the camera could affect Starbucks customers.
I'd probably go look at it and see how clear it is and probably never sit here again.
However you decide to take the news, just remember, when you go uptown, somebody's watching. In Chapel Hill, I'm Corey Ford, Carolina Week.
Wow. I got online today and checked that out, and you know, you like click on the little circles and you can like see the corner of, I don't know if it's Cameron and Franklin, and it's just kind of weird. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, well, Jacqueline, that camera reaches all the way from the end of Kinko's to the post office on the other side of Franklin Street. So a little blackmail there, Big Brother's watching.
It's a great blackmail.
Yeah, somebody could see you. So you most definitely have to watch out for that. Well, that does it for another edition of Carolina Week. For Brian Strong, Jacqueline McClary, Reelinger, I'm Fred Shropshire. Thanks for joining us.
If you'd like to contact Carolina Week, our mailing address is Carolina Week, Campus Box 3365, or you can reach us by email at carolinaweek@unc.edu.